I watched them all the time. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa, Caitlin Clark play about the same last year, so I watched a lot of basketball.
Like, can we get Caitlin Clark a little protection out there?
Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time.
What happens when one of the greatest basketball legends of all time watches the most talented young player in the WNBA get targeted by questionable tactics? You're about to find out, because Larry Bird's explosive comments about Marina Mabrey's actions against Caitlin Clark have absolutely rocked the basketball world to its foundation. But first, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a superstar player get targeted the way Caitlin Clark has been in her career? Because what Larry Bird saw during that Connecticut Sun game completely shifted his entire outlook on what's unfolding in the WNBA right now. Now, here's what makes Bird's perspective absolutely crushing for Marina Mabrey. Larry Bird has stood in Caitlin Clark's exact shoes before. Back in the 1980s, Bird reigned as the most skilled player in a league full of elite athletes who resorted to physical intimidation simply because they couldn't match his unmatched basketball IQ. But here's the crucial difference that Bird highlighted, and this is where it gets really interesting for Mabrey's reputation. Bird understands the fine line between elite competitive basketball and the kind of targeting he's witnessing against Clark. And when he saw what Mabrey did, he called it the most cowardly act I've seen on a basketball court in decades.
Marina Mabrey kind of blindsided Clark there. Oh boy. Sheldon and Cunningham are getting into it. These two teams do not like each other.
When Bird watched the footage of Mabrey shoving Clark from behind while she was dealing with getting poked in the eye, his reaction was immediate and absolutely brutal. This is a man who battled against legendary enforcers like Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman, who understood what genuine competitive fire looked like better than almost anyone in basketball history. Yet even he could see that what Mabrey did crossed every single line of sportsmanship and competitive integrity. But wait until you hear what Bird said about the timing of that shove. This is where his analysis becomes absolutely devastating for Mabrey. The basketball legend pointed out something that many fans have been thinking, but nobody with his incredible credibility has dared to say out loud. There's a massive difference between playing championship-level defense and taking cheap shots at a player when they're completely vulnerable and not looking. Bird emphasized that in his era, widely considered the most physical period in NBA history, if you had a problem with someone, you faced them head-on like a warrior. You didn't wait until their back was turned to make your move like some kind of predator. And that's exactly what infuriated Bird the most about Mabrey's disgraceful approach. But here's where Bird's criticism becomes absolutely nuclear for Marina Mabrey's reputation. What particularly set the Celtics legend on fire was watching Mabrey's pathetic reaction after the incident. Instead of showing even the slightest bit of remorse or acknowledging that maybe she crossed a line, Mabrey acted like she was being unfairly criticized by the media and fans. She said, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't." But those words set Bird off even further. Bird pointed out that the truly elite competitors, the champions, the legends, own their actions, especially when those actions could endanger another player. Watching Mabrey dodge accountability and frame herself as the victim, he said, reminded him of athletes who, deep down, knew they couldn't truly hang with the best. So instead, they resorted to questionable tactics just to make a mark. Essentially, Bird didn't hold back. He branded Marina Mabrey as a second-tier player relying on dirty plays because she lacks the skill to compete through pure talent and legit basketball ability. Bird's insight takes a jaw-dropping turn and sheds serious light on Caitlin Clark. He sees in her the same ultra-rare traits that once made him one of the greatest to ever do it. That mind-bending basketball IQ, those impossible clutch shots, and that freakish court vision that elevates everyone around her. But Bird also revealed a real concern that speaks volumes about the state of the game. He sees a once-in-a-generation talent like Clark being forced to stay alert for cheap shots and foul play, when all she should be doing is soaring toward her limitless potential. In Bird's view, Mabrey's antics perfectly represent a growing problem in today's game. Instead of grinding to reach Clark's level or pushing themselves harder in the gym and on the court, some players are targeting her when she's least able to defend herself. Bird's take on that behavior? He called it the weakest form of basketball competition imaginable. And here's the kicker, the part of Bird's comments that lit up the basketball world. He said he knows what it's like to be physically targeted, to be bruised and battered night after night. But what Clark is going through, it's something else entirely, and in Bird's eyes, that makes her rise even more extraordinary. He said Clark is already facing more adversity at just 22 than most pros ever will in a full career, and she's doing it while shouldering the immense pressure of being the undisputed face of women's basketball. But it was Bird's scathing take on Marina Mabrey's future in the league that set the internet on fire, and once you hear it, you'll understand why. Bird warned that if the WNBA keeps letting players like Mabrey go after its stars without real consequences, it sends a dangerous message that average players can stay relevant through cheap shots instead of putting in the work to get better. And in doing so, he said, the league risks losing the very athletes who are lifting the game to incredible new heights. He didn't stop there. Bird argued that the league's failure to take a stand against this kind of behavior sends the wrong message to young fans watching from home. Instead of seeing the game as a showcase for skill, passion, and sportsmanship, kids are witnessing how to exploit weakness and attack when opponents are most vulnerable. But the most powerful moment in Bird's commentary came when he turned the spotlight back on Clark and made a bold prediction. He said every dirty hit, every attempt to rattle her, every moment of adversity is forging her into something even greater. That these trials are strengthening her mind and sharpening her focus, and that she'll rise not through retaliation, but through breathtaking basketball brilliance. Bird reflected on his own rookie year, recalling how players used to try to break him physically just to see if he'd fold under pressure. But Clark? He said she's enduring all that, and the unmatched media frenzy that comes with being the most marketable star the WNBA has ever seen. That's why Bird's support hits so deep. He's not just backing a gifted young player, he's standing up for what makes basketball special. In Caitlin Elizabeth Clark, Bird sees everything that embodies the soul of the sport: skill, heart, intelligence, grace. And in Mabrey's actions, he sees the exact kind of shortcut that threatens to tear it all down. The basketball icon didn't mince words. Larry Bird made it crystal clear that the WNBA is standing at a pivotal crossroads. They have a choice: protect and spotlight their biggest stars so talents like Caitlin Clark can thrive and elevate the entire league, or keep letting fringe players cling to relevance through cheap shots and dirty tactics. Bird's message was thunderous. The future of the league hinges on this decision. But now, here's the question lighting up every corner of the basketball world. Will the WNBA actually take Bird's warning seriously and protect Caitlin Clark? Or will they continue to let players like Marina Mabrey drag down the league's reputation with on-court behavior that has no place in professional basketball? So let's open the floor. What's your take on Bird's absolutely blistering takedown of Mabrey's antics? Was he right on the money, or did he go too far? And more importantly, do you think the WNBA will finally take real steps to defend its biggest star? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more coverage that doesn't sugarcoat the truth and dive straight into what's really going on in the basketball world, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. The whole basketball community is watching this unfold in real time. And Larry Bird's explosive comments? They might just be the spark that forces the league to finally act. This story is just getting started. Don't blink.
So it looked like DJ Carrington just got booted from the Dallas Wings.
DJ, your game was stinking in the mud, and the Dallas Wings wanted nothing to do with you going forward.
What do you call a player so chaotic even refs need security? DJ Carrington. From eye-poking Caitlin Clark to injuring her own teammate while targeting another, she's been a walking tech. 4 flagrant fouls and a security incident later, the Dallas Wings finally had enough.
Now, DJ Carrington couldn't keep her hands clean either. Was staying out of headlines on the internet. She was always in headlines, punching players in the eye. And then we have to remember, she nearly injured Paige. Like, everybody forgot about that. Y'all remember when she nearly injured Paige, nearly took her whole knee out? Like, we got to remember all of those things transpired during this basketball season, man. For her to tell you, they made it their business to get rid of her.
Before we get into Carrington's exit, let's talk about why Dallas showed her the door. Tough defense is one thing, dangerous intent is another. Her highlight reel? More injury report than game tape. It all started with that infamous 2024 eye poke on Caitlin Clark that left a black eye and the league stunned.
Dejanay, you're always in a dirty play. Dejanay, once again, here we are today. Oh, Dejanay.
During the Sun vs. Fever playoff game, Clark went up for a shot and caught Carrington's hand to the face instead. Not just a brush, but a direct hit to the eye. Clark's head snapped back, she clutched her face, and that black eye, it became the defining image of the postseason.
As everyone else has seen this angle, I'm calling her in, and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
What most don't know? The aftermath was just as telling. While Clark dealt with the damage, Carrington showed no remorse, no apology, no hint she went too far. Instead, she doubled down, almost proud of the chaos she caused.
Went and kind of swatted at Caitlin. Did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
June 4th versus the Storm. Same story. Skylar Diggins drives the lane, and instead of a clean block, Carrington hits her in the head. Refs called a flagrant one on the spot. It wasn't defense, it was headhunting.
Let's watch it, and this will give us a couple of different angles.
Records of games. Wins the tip. Diggins, who's still fast, gets down the floor, buries it, draws the foul, but is shaken up.
Fans and analysts saw the pattern. This wasn't random. It was the same reckless hits to stars' heads over and over. One fan nailed it. That's not physicality. That's a trash play from a dirty player. Outrage only grew, and fast.
And there's Skylar on the floor. At first glance, this might not look too bad. But when we get some different angles of it, you just see how this is clearly, definitely, 100% not a basketball play. Let's take a look. We got Dejanay. Dejanay, did you forget what sport you're playing? You know this is basketball, right?
Each foul got worse and louder. The Clark hit became the blueprint. Reckless, aggressive, and aimed at stars. Whether it was Diggins or Clark, Carrington kept going for the head, stirring chaos. The pattern piled up fast, and Dallas couldn't keep covering for it.
DJ Carrington is clearly a dirty player. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if it's Chin, what do you have going on in that mind of yours? Are you okay? DJ, are you okay? DJ, are you okay? Are you okay? DJ, are you okay? DJ, are you okay? Are you okay? Yes, DJ. Get it together, collect your thoughts, collect your emotions, because the last thing we need to see you is crash out.
Most players try not to hurt opponents. Carrington injured her own teammate instead. In the May 21st game versus Minnesota, she was so locked in on causing damage, she ended up taking out someone on her own team. A walking disaster, even for her locker room.
Ball's being pushed down court. Yeah, I mean, this will be a better angle of it. I think we'll be able to see how hard the foul is right here. That's a hard foul, and she does get her in the face when she's coming down.
Carrington went for another eye poke, this time at Jessica Shepard, and ended up injuring her own teammate, Paige Beckers. Shepard rose for a shot, and Carrington flew in recklessly, hitting Shepard in the face. It was so blatant, officials slapped her with a flagrant foul on the spot.
She basically reached around Shepard's body, but the fact that she went for the basketball and for the block really...
Basketball play.
Yeah, it is. And she ends up getting Shepard in the face, the nose. I don't know which takes precedent. Oh, see, it's the hit the ball and then it's the pull back. They're showing it on the Jumbotron at a different angle that sort of looked like, watch after Carrington goes for the block, watch her pull back right here. And that's the part that I don't know if you separate that.
But it didn't end there. Carrington's wild play also put Paige Beckers in harm's way. One reckless move, and her own teammate got caught in the chaos. Teammates started questioning if she was worth the risk. When players fear injury from their own side, something's seriously wrong.
Like, I'm sorry, you don't get to plow through somebody's back, almost injure a teammate, and then say, yeah, and then, like, claim that you've done nothing. You've done nothing, like... And people like stand on business. She's like trying to laugh at him. Like, no, you're just Pat Bev. You're not Draymond. You're Pat Bev. Like, realistically, you're Pat Bev. That's it. And like, look, I mean this when I say this. It was a dangerous play only for Paige.
The Lynx saw it all. Carrington targeting their player's face while endangering her own teammate. The disgust was obvious. Minnesota's coaches knew this wasn't just aggressive play. It was reckless to everyone on the floor. Dallas finally saw it too. Carrington wasn't an asset. She was a liability.
Was it a flagrant 1? Yes. Could it have been called a flagrant 2? Yes. Was it more dangerous to Paige Beckers than anyone else? Because Paige Beckers was the one who was the person with the break Jessica Shepard's fall. Could she have blown out her teammate's knee? Yeah. Like, that is what, like, realistically, that is what the conversation should be about. Because she wanted the Kiki Area fan viral meme. Because as soon as she did it, look at what she does as soon as she did it. As soon as she did, she walks towards Jessica Shepard and just tries to do the Kiki Area fan face.
When you start injuring your own teammates while targeting others, you've crossed a line no team can ignore. This wasn't tough defense, it was pure toxicity. Even refs caught on, treating Carrington differently. In the Chicago Sky game, it hit a peak. Officials actually called for security. That's the DeJounte Carrington experience.
I don't have a problem with the WNBA players asking for a raise. The WNBA is on a hot streak. I don't care about the previous 24, 25 years. As an investment, it's starting to pay off. And so this week they wore T-shirts saying, making a statement, you better pay us. But instead of just leaving it at that, Kelsey Plum for LA had to take a dig at Caitlin Clark.
Colin Cowherd just called out Kelsey Plum, and it was long overdue. While Caitlin Clark is turning the WNBA into a profitable league, Plum took a shot at the very person fueling that success. Cowherd fired back, exposing the jealousy brewing within the league. So what exactly did he say? And why is he comparing Caitlin Clark to Michael Jordan?
The t-shirt, just United front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
For over 20 years, WNBA players flew budget airlines and even paid for water. They played in empty arenas for money-losing teams, with merchandise so scarce fans couldn't find jerseys to buy.
But why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a Four Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
Then Caitlin Clark arrived and everything changed. Merchandise sales soared 500% and league attendance rose 40%, with some cities now selling out games. Teams once losing money became profitable, and the Indiana Fever went from financial disaster to having a season ticket wait list.
I don't mind the t-shirts. I think you have leverage. I think you deserve more than 9%. But it's just misstep after misstep. It's time to grow up, girls. Like fast. Like this is the player that got you off the airline that was bright yellow. Right? She got you an upgrade to a better hotel as a band member.
What fires up Cowherd is that players who once flew budget now enjoy private jets, better hotels, and higher salaries. The league's finances improved fast, yet some veterans still complain about the person who made it all happen.
I think they deserve a big raise, maybe not 50% of revenues, because NBA stars, there's a lot of them, and they move the needle. The WNBA stars, well, there's one that moves the needle. And here's the other thing to remember. Caitlin Clark's already rich. She made $11 million this year alone in endorsements off the court. So regardless of how these negotiations go, she's set. Nobody else is, right? So when somebody joins the band and everything gets upgraded, just be happy.
Clark transformed the WNBA from a charity case into a real business. TV ratings spike when she plays, sponsors are investing, and Clark jerseys are flying off shelves. Every player benefits, yet some still complain. That's what frustrates Cowherd. Why bite the hand that feeds you when you're finally winning?
I know you wanted your song to be the first one they played. You wanted to make up the set. It's not the t-shirts. You're going to do fine. I'd scale back on the Caitlin Clark angst.
Cowherd nailed it, comparing the WNBA's rise to moving from a Motel 6 to a Four Seasons, thanks to Caitlin Clark. Everything improved. Travel, pay, respect. Yet some veterans still act like nothing changed, complaining from their upgraded conditions. Then came the All-Star voting, revealing deeper issues. Fan votes, coach picks, and player ballots shape legacies and endorsements. For young stars, it's more than a game. It's their future.
Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting for the All-Star game. The pettiness has no bounds. But it's interesting, for years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, the media is sexist, we're not being promoted, we're underappreciated. And then they get the golden goose, and they don't like what it looks like.
Fans ranked Caitlin Clark first among guards. Her fellow players? 9th. The league's biggest star, driving record crowds and sales, was barely acknowledged by those benefiting from her impact. And the gap wasn't even close.
Iowa girl, Indiana girl. Well, who knows, and I've said this for years, when the wave hits, ride it. You don't know what it looks like. Don't fight it. When Puka Nacua went in the 5th round of the Rams and they suddenly in camp went, oh, we just found a new number 1 receiver. He's better than Cooper Kupp. They didn't fight it. Did you think when you watched Tom Brady at the Combine, that looked like the GOAT? They had just signed Drew Bledsoe to a $103 million contract. That was a lot of money back then. And then a year in, they're like, I'm going to go with Brady. They didn't fight it.
Let's be honest. Clark's All-Star snub wasn't about her game. She had the stats and records to back it up. This was personal. In other sports, young stars like LeBron and Tiger earned respect, even if they stole the spotlight. But with Clark, the pushback felt petty. Cowherd called it out. Some WNBA players weren't appreciating the one who transformed their league. Instead of backing the golden goose, they worked against their own success.
there's obviously a racial component here. The WNBA players, they just don't like what the wave looks like. They wanted to fly private. They wanted to be more popular. They wanted a better deal in the CBA, which they'll get. They wanted sold out arenas. They got it. They don't necessarily think it should be this. But again, you can't fight it. You just never know what success looks like.
Here's what makes it worse. Players like Agia Wilson and Kelsey Plum gained from Clark's rise. Their visibility, salaries, and conditions improved thanks to the attention Clark brought. Yet in All-Star voting, they ranked her below far less impactful players.
Every company in the country would love to go viral every day for free marketing. If they knew how to do it, they'd all be viral every day. Like, you just don't know. Is it authentic? It touches people. There's a tentacle of emotion involved, and suddenly some small town kid goes viral, or a singing frog. Who knows? I wouldn't have guessed that Caitlin Clark would be this transformative. I wouldn't have guessed Tom Brady would be the GOAT. Don't fight it. The wave, the meteor, doesn't necessarily look like you think it's going to look.
This voting controversy ties directly to what's happened on the court all season. Hard fouls, unnecessary contact, clear targeting. Some veterans can't accept that a sophomore reshaped their league, so they lash out in games and all-star voting, blaming Clark for their own success.
People are saying, hey man, this league has never made money. It's an investment. It's now going to make money. And by the way, this is the least profitable, arguably, it'll be over the next 10 years. It's only going to get more profitable as women's basketball gets better, as the Caitlin Clark momentum train gets bigger. I mean, this year, she's not playing well. She's hurt. She's not there for all the games. So this is actually not as great as it could be. Like Michael Jordan, hurt year 2, next 12 years were legendary. That's what it's going to be.
Cowherd made a bold but clear comparison. Clark and Jordan both entered as flashy rookies who instantly changed their leagues. Jordan made the NBA global, and Clark is doing the same for the WNBA. The parallel is obvious, yet few are willing to say it.
Caitlin Clark's gotten really good really fast. It's like the end of year 1 for Michael Jordan or year 3 for Michael Jordan. She's gotten really good really fast. And you got to put a body on her, or you got to double team her, or she's going to embarrass you. She's shooting 33-footers. And what happened last night's a byproduct of that. This is what happened to MJ. She's number 1 and 2 in every offensive stat. She's hitting more threes this season than Steph Curry did in his first MVP season, and her game embarrasses you.
The physical punishment says it all. Jordan endured the Jordan rules, aggressive tactics meant to wear him down. Clark faces similar targeting today. Early on, officials couldn't protect Jordan, and now they're failing Clark. Cowherd noted how much is being let go, and it's starting to feel inappropriate.
It's a little bad boys Pistons with MJ. For the record, Caitlin Clark got up. She wasn't hurt. She did more trash talking. She hit more threes. She remained remarkable, just like all the great. If you respect women, stop pandering. She's tough. She's feisty. She likes to taunt and talk. And nobody quite knows what the hell to do.
Remember when Clark missed a game due to injury? The same thing happened to Jordan early on, as teams tried to intimidate him physically. Officiating couldn't keep up with what these generational talents brought. Both leagues had to learn how to protect their stars while keeping the game competitive.
Steph Curry's first couple years in the league. Thank God for Draymond Green. And by the way, this league, they knew what they were getting into, right? Like, and I'll get to this in a second, but they brought Sophie Cunningham over in a trade for a reason. She's the youngest black belt in the state of Missouri's history, 6 years old. They brought her over to protect Caitlin Clark because they saw this puppy coming. The league doesn't quite know what to do, but the Fever did. And so, again, you got to put a body on her. You got to get physical.
Both teams brought in enforcers. The Bulls got Charles Oakley for Jordan. The Fever signed Sophie Cunningham for Clark. Cowherd noted it's no coincidence. The Fever knew, like the Bulls did, that protecting a transformative star is just smart business.
If you go look at the history of basketball, high school, college, WNBA, NBA, if there's an offensive player and they're humiliating you, Steph, Shaq, MJ, Caitlin, what do? You can't trap her. She'll dribble through it. You got to put a body on her. You got to double team her. You try to get in her head with trash talking. It's not working at all. It's the ultimate compliment, in my opinion.
Merchandise and TV ratings tell the same story. Clark is a dynastic TV ratings changer, just like Jordan was as a rookie. Both became instant must-watch stars. The WNBA is seeing the same surge the NBA did with Jordan. But here's the uncomfortable part. Both faced resentment from veterans who felt overshadowed. Clark's All-Star snub proves that resentment is still very real.
And so the first year Caitlin Clark was in the WNBA, they were hazing her. They're not hazing her anymore. They're just trying to figure out how the hell to stop her. Okay, it's not hazing. It's, all right, traps, pressure. So the Fever saw it coming. They went and got Sophie Cunningham, 6-year-old black belt. This is what the Bulls did with Charles Oakley to protect Michael Jordan.
The college popularity factor ties it all together. Jordan's North Carolina fame fueled the NBA's rise. Clark's Iowa stardom is reshaping the WNBA. Both brought huge college fan bases into the pros. Cowherd believes these early challenges will only make Clark stronger, just like they did for Jordan. The WNBA's future depends on embracing, not resisting, this change.
Looks like she's in pain after that pass. She had been dealing most recently with a groin injury.
Celebration quickly turned to panic at Boston's TD Garden after the Fever secured their third straight win over the Sun. As fans cheered, Caitlin Clark limped off, clutching her groin, the same injury that had sidelined her before. Cameras showed her in tears on the bench. What made it worse, refs again ignored the rough play that's targeted Clark and the Fever all season. Head coach Stephanie White is speaking out.
No update. Just felt a little something in her groin, so we'll get it evaluated and see what happens from there.
Yeah, just kind of to follow up on that. Looked like she was kind of grabbing at her right groin area. Is that the concern?
Yeah. If that's the one she was grabbing at, I don't know which one it was, but yeah, I mean, that's it.
TD Garden felt more like Indianapolis than Connecticut as Fever fans took over, chanting, "Let's go Fever" throughout the arena. Though it was the Suns' home court, the crowd clearly favored Indiana. The Fever dominated 85-77 for their third straight win, led by Kelsey Mitchell's 20 points and Natasha Howard's 18-point, 13-rebound, double-double. At 12-10, they looked playoff ready until everything unraveled in the final minute.
Right here, she explodes, makes the backdoor pass, and immediately grabs the inside of that right leg. Yeah.
In seconds, everything changed. A routine play ended with Clark clutching her right groin in pain, then slamming her head against the basket stanchion in frustration, breaking hearts everywhere.
She walks down to the end of the court. You can tell that she's in pain. You can tell that there's something wrong. She goes to the, what's it called, like stanchion or whatever, the thing that holds up the basketball hoop on the other end. She hits her head on it. She is fighting back tears and she walks straight over to the bench. Now, when she goes over to the bench, she starts crying. And I've honestly never seen Caitlin Clark cry on the court except when she lost the national championship game. She keeps it together no matter what is happening. But you could just tell that something happened on that play. And it was either the pain of it, it was either like, here we go again, it was frustration.
Cameras caught a haunting image, tears streaming down Clark's face on the bench. Her pain was unmistakable. This wasn't fatigue, it was the same groin issue that sidelined her before. She'd already missed 5 games with a left groin injury. Now, it's the right one, sparking real concern about overcompensation and her long-term health.
Test, but right now on the bench after looking like she is in some pain.
The arena fell silent in an instant. Cheers turned to concern as fans and teammates realized something was wrong with Caitlin Clark. The joy disappeared from players' faces as medical staff rushed in. Coach Stephanie White said Clark felt something in her groin and would be evaluated. With the WNBA All-Star Game days away in Indianapolis, where Clark was set to captain, Her status and Indiana's title hopes are now in question.
We probably won't get many details about the injury, but it was honestly just so heartbreaking to see because in that moment, she just looked so defeated. And Caitlin Clark is somebody, she hides it really well, and I don't know if hiding it or she handles it is probably the right thing to say. She handles the pressure. She handles all of the media spotlight, the attention, the expectations of how she performs on the court, the expectations of the ratings for her games. She handles all of that so well, and this season has just been so tough for her when it comes to injuries.
This injury highlights how the league has failed to protect Clark all season. She'd already missed 10 games with leg injuries, and now faces another setback. It all traces back to June 17th against the same Connecticut Sun, when the physical play against her first crossed the line and marked a shift in how opponents targeted her.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and JC Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down. Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
JC Sheldon poked Clark in the eye, and Marina Mabrey followed with a hard body check, both clearly beyond normal play. These weren't basketball moves. They were targeted, dangerous actions.
Then Mabrey came in with a bump.
And Mabrey's day is almost assuredly going to be done.
What cameras missed was the aftermath that fueled this revenge game. The incident created lasting tension, with players remembering every detail. Sophie Cunningham stood up for Clark, confronting Sheldon and Mabrey right after their hits. Her actions showed the Fever's unity and determination to protect their star.
Sophie commits a hard foul on JC Sheldon. Again, as JC Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm going to give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional.
The league's weak response to those dirty plays sent a message. Targeting Clark was allowed. Fans and players felt she wasn't being protected. By the Boston game, the tension was obvious. Players exchanged stares in warm-ups, and the energy felt heavier. Clark played with a sharp edge, attacking harder and passing with purpose. Every possession felt personal.
Sheldon is going to keep the pressure on Clark. You see Tina Charles with the responsibility of guarding Aaliyah Boston. High hedge on the ball screen on Clark. Inside perfectly. One thing you know about Tina Charles, she has every shot in her arsenal. Now Sheldon, the height disadvantage against Cowherd. Yeah, good recognition.
Every possession had extra intensity. Screens hit harder, stares lasted longer, and players bumped after whistles. Refs had to step in more than once. This felt like payback, and Clark delivered until the injury. Then, questionable calls made it all feel even more personal.
Also something where she's never battled injuries in college. She's always been something who has been a very healthy player. And this year it has been quad injury, and then another quad injury, and then a groin injury, and now what seems to be another groin injury. Now, again, you guys, this is all from what we're seeing. We're just putting two and two together. Nothing has been confirmed, but it seems like she did re-injure her leg on that play. Now,
here's where it got ugly. The refs didn't just miss calls, they made things worse. Their poor officiating overshadowed the Fever's third straight win, shifting focus from the game to their loss of control.
there are multiple moments in this game that were so egregiously called, or there was no calls by the referees, and it's getting out of control at this point. And even Caitlin Clark's brother tweeted, "This one is on the refereeing." Like, there are people in Caitlin Clark's family who are starting to call out the referees because of how bad they have been.
The officiating was so poor that even Clark couldn't stay silent. Frustration built as obvious fouls went uncalled. She argued with referee Mike Price, who said something that clearly rattled her. In the third quarter, cameras caught her jawing at him on her way to the bench.
I'm not a good lip reader. I'm trying.
I got it.
and that was Breon January, who is played 9 years in Indiana and now on the staff. And that's a live shot now of Caitlin Clark. He's still upset and wants an explanation from Michael Price. And maybe at the timing of when that challenge happened,
Aaliyah Boston was slapped in the face, and Sophie Cunningham took an elbow to the back, both with no real calls. Tina Charles clearly struck Boston, yet refs didn't review it and only called a common foul, leaving fans stunned.
And this was probably the worst one of them all. This is Aaliyah Boston and Tina Charles, and they are battling in the post. And then you can see Tina Charles just kind of swims around and then throws Aaliyah Boston to the ground, like punches down on her. And she's on the ground, and that was not called a flagrant one. That was called literally a common foul, you guys. Hands up at this point. Like, I don't even know what the players can do because the players aren't being protected.
Cunningham took an elbow to the head with no foul called, leaving commentators and fans in disbelief.
I want to show you another play with Sophie Cunningham. So this one, she actually quote tweeted herself. As you can see, she's running up and then Hartley kind of elbows her in the neck and Sophie falls to the ground. Now she reposted this and she said, "They said I flopped, LOL." So I guess the referees told her that she flopped on that play, or the players, who knows. Somebody told her that she flopped on that play.
Frustration showed on every Fever player's face as missed calls piled up. It wasn't just Clark. Everyone was getting hit with no response from officials. Players exchanged looks of disbelief. This wasn't a one-off. Refs have let opponents play overly physical with Clark all season. Commentators even showed a highlight reel of uncalled fouls, underscoring the growing controversy.
There's been so many things, so many players calling out the referees, so many players calling out the physicality, so many players getting injured this season, from superstars to players on the bench, from season-ending injuries to rib injuries to concussions. There have been just so many things, and it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. This is a nationally televised game on ESPN. And it just doesn't get better.
Other stars get protection, Clark doesn't. She takes hits that would be fouls for anyone else, and even casual fans see the bias. The officiating was so bad, analysts called it one of the worst performances ever. Clark's heated exchange with the ref showed her frustration boiling over. Her brother Colin tweeted, "Make no mistake, this is on the referees." But it was Coach Stephanie White's post-game comments that truly exposed what's been happening.
What is your description of kind of the physical battle that Caitlin particularly faces, maybe within tonight's game or just in general as you've gotten used to coaching, or just what you see she's enduring physically?
Are you trying to get me fined again?
Stephanie White entered the post-game interview visibly frustrated and ready to speak out. When asked about Clark's injury, she kept it brief but pointed. No update, just felt a little something in her groin. So we'll get it evaluated and see what happens.
I mean, there's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. I knew it as an opponent, and I see it as her coach. And I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is what it is. And we've got to help her learn to adjust and use it against them in certain ways. We've got to find some ways to make it a little bit easier for her. But the level of physicality overall in our league has been at a different level than it's been for a long time.
White's harsh comments about the refs pointed to a deeper issue than just bad calls. She didn't hold back, saying, "I knew it as an opponent, and I see it as her coach." Having seen both sides, her words carried weight. She added, "I'm not exactly sure why, but it is what it is," revealing frustration and helplessness. White also warned that league-wide physicality has escalated, and now star players are paying the price.
But, it is another situation than pretending like Caitlin Clark doesn't exist.
They want to make the trajectory look like it's going up and not down. It's whatever, man. We see what's going on.
They're trying to make it so that the data looks as favorable as possible.
ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because Caitlin Clark didn't play, so they just used the 2023 numbers instead.
ESPN lying.
ESPN got exposed for twisting the truth about WNBA All-Star ratings to cover up the fallout from Caitlin Clark's absence. The cover-up was so sloppy, even their own journalists called it out. After the 2025 game dropped 36% in ratings, from 3.44 million in 2024 to 2.2 million, ESPN ignored last year's record and instead compared it to 2023 to fake growth.
Yes, you guys heard me correctly. The numbers are in. And just like I told you, there was a boycott.
You got to understand, these numbers, they did like 2 million viewers. That's up from 2023. 2023 was a little over 900,000. So it is up. So the numbers are going up. But compared to last year, it fell by 40%.
Oh, so they going to try to spin it. Okay, it could be the second most watched of all time. Of course, it's going to be that, but compared to last year, you still down 36%.
What makes ESPN's spin worse is the game was in Caitlin Clark's home arena, Indianapolis. It was meant to be a major WNBA celebration, the league's biggest stage in its biggest stars city. But instead of triumph, it became a ratings disaster so bad, ESPN tried to fake a success story.
They're just skewing data.
So it's up 158% compared to 23. What happened to 24? Y'all just gonna skip over 24? Like, what?
Thing is, this could be disingenuous too. That's the bad side of it, because for some reason they have a thing where they want to compare everything without Caitlin. They're like, oh, well, she's an anomaly, so we could compare these numbers to 2023 and show you that without Caitlin, it's growing.
This is very similar to the WNBA draft, comparing it to 2023. Very similar to how they are presenting this graph.
The mess began on July 15th when Clark aggravated a groin issue during Indiana's win over Connecticut. Hours after she announced she'd skip All-Star Weekend, ticket prices crashed 48%, from $121 to $64. Fans made it clear, no Caitlin Clark, no interest. This wasn't a small dip. It exposed how reliant the WNBA is on a 23-year-old. It's striking, as Clark missed 10 games this season after never missing one in college or her rookie year. Can networks be trusted when they have money in the leagues they cover?
So for all the people that thought that it wasn't a boycott against this All-Star game, it was, bro. People was just DMing me, telling me that they wasn't going to look at it. People was telling me that they refunded their tickets. I was even supposed to be there, and I decided not to go because of the things with the referees and the WNBA disrespecting Caitlin.
1,250,000 viewers, woof, out of existence. No Caitlin Clark, not tuning in.
ESPN's sleight of hand is clear in how they framed their historic rating success. They didn't just skip 2024, they picked 2023 data, before Clark went pro and when the WNBA drew little attention. Instead of admitting ratings dropped by over 1 million, ESPN promoted a misleading stat that 2025 was up 158% from 2 years ago. It wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated PR move to distract from the fallout of Clark's absence.
So all of you guys can sit there and say, oh, you guys are just trying to uplift one player. Oh, the league is more than one. I agree, the league is more than one player. It's more than one good basketball player. But is there more than one player that moves the tide? No. We just have to be honest. It's okay.
What gives it away is ESPN's sudden shift in tone. All season, they praised Clark for boosting growth and selling out arenas. But when the All-Star game flopped without her, they claimed no single player matters. They pointed to Friday's Skills Challenge, getting 1.3 million viewers, up 89% from last year, but left out that the jump came from format changes and prime time slots, not a rise in league interest. The boost wasn't about Reese, Wilson, or others. It was fans still hoping Clark might show.
there is fans that are just Caitlin Clark fans. I said this yesterday. If Caitlin Clark was to leave to go to New York or any other damn team, expect significant impact in the Indiana Fever viewership, bro. People might tune in for that first season without Caitlin if she was to leave, but after that, it is over with.
There was plenty of people I saw online who said, yo, Caitlin Clark not playing. Oh, she's hurt and they don't want to call fouls. Okay, I'm not giving them a view. I'm not going to watch. There was plenty of people that boycotted watching this WNBA All-Star.
The fallout went beyond TV. Clark's All-Star exit set off a domino effect across the WNBA's business. Ticket sales, merch, and sponsorship values all took a hit. The market reacted like it lost its center. ESPN's spin couldn't hide what fans saw. The 48% ticket price drop wasn't minor. It was a clear message from fans who paid to see Caitlin Clark and didn't care about her replacements.
You can see when Caitlin doesn't play, it happens. And how are we meant to know that if Caitlin ends up missing a year, Caitlin's gone, that all those fans don't just leave again?
They know they need Caitlin Clark to grow this league, man.
It wasn't just empty seats. Social media was flooded with fan cancellations. People shared scrapped trips, resold tickets, and skipped the broadcast. The WNBA didn't just lose viewers, it lost momentum. This wasn't fringe, it was a visible fan boycott ESPN tried to bury by inflating numbers to keep sponsors from panicking over a WNBA without its star.
Why not just not put up 153, just say 2.2 million average viewers, and then just say second most watched All-Star game ever behind 2024, which is fine. You don't even have to say how down bad it is. It's a PR page.
Instead of trying to down Caitlin Clark and diminish her to the level that other people may be at, why don't you promote the other people alongside of Caitlin Clark's greatness?
The financial fallout from Clark's injury hit more than the arena. It rippled through Indianapolis. Hotels, restaurants, and shops prepared for a Clark-driven tourism boost, even stocking up on Fever gear. But once she was out, crowds shrank, momentum stalled, and ESPN ignored the economic impact, focusing on selective stats. Her absence didn't just show her value, it exposed a league-wide void. Nafisa Collier scored 36 and won MVP, but it barely registered. No viewership surge, no buzz. The WNBA hasn't built another star who draws national attention. A failure of branding, not just talent.
Caitlin Clark was in it. We're going to say it's up on non-Caitlin Clark numbers because, Caitlin Clark's just an anomaly. Caitlin Clark's not a player. Caitlin Clark is not relevant to this. Caitlin Clark is an anomaly.
Oh, y'all are trying to straddle the fence. We want your money, but we don't want you. Which one is it? Which one is it? We want the viewership, but we only want viewership from certain people's fans. We want the ratings up, but we don't want these type of, no. Do you want it or not? You got to accept what comes with everything. The good, the bad, the ugly.
The backlash to ESPN's spin came fast. Journalist Christine Brennan called out their framing, questioning why they promoted historic ratings despite a major drop from last year. Her viral tweet exposed ESPN's deception. It wasn't just fans. It was respected media voices drawing the line. Then Austin Karp of Sports Business Journal added key context ESPN ignored. Clark drives numbers, and without her, they tank. He showed a clear pattern of declines tied to her absence, proving the WNBA's reliance on her and ESPN's choice to cover it up.
Now, many other people stated that, you know what? It was sold out. It was not a boycott. Well, you know the old saying, men lie, women lie, and the numbers don't. This is a case of the numbers not lying.
By comparing this year's All-Star numbers to 2023, ESPN admitted what they won't say outright. There's a pre-Clark and post-Clark WNBA. These are different worlds in fan interest and commercial value. Using 2023, when Clark was in college and viewership was low, was a deliberate attempt to hide this year's collapse. It highlights how the league's visibility and finances hinge on one player, a truth ESPN won't say aloud to sponsors or investors.
I believe that it's everything also leading up to this. I mean, talk about leading up to this. The officiating, I think enough fans had it up to here with the league as a whole. People had it up to here. You got to understand. Caitlin Clark is getting beat up in these games. The refs aren't calling anything. Kathy Engelbert seems to have air between both of her ears. She seems to have pure air floating between her ears. And I think people are fed up.
ESPN spent the season praising Clark for driving viewership and lifting the league until the numbers crashed without her. Then suddenly, star power didn't matter. That flip-flop shatters their entire narrative. If Clark isn't vital, why make her the face of the WNBA? It's a story built on selective truth, and it collapses under its own weight. But this goes beyond image. It hits players in the pocket. Right now, WNBA athletes are fighting for better pay, with TV ratings as a key bargaining chip. Those pay us what you owe us shirts? They weren't fashion. They were a demand for fairness. And ESPN's spin? It didn't just blur the truth. It sabotaged their leverage. By burying the 36% drop, they painted a fake picture of growth. Clark's impact is real. The collapse without her is real. And pretending otherwise doesn't just distort the story, it rewrites the future.